Namaste. My name is Arunima, and today we wanted to talk about parenting teenagers. So, are you one such parent who is facing your teenager child answering you back? Or do you feel disconnected with them? They don't want to engage or involve. Or maybe you have this feeling that you don't understand your child at all suddenly, right? And some parents also tell me that, they do not understand where exactly have they gone wrong and how to rebuild this trust again. So today's video is about, understanding that the teenagers are not exactly difficult people, but how can we understand them and how can we build this trust and love again? We are going to talk about that in this video. I have been into the education sector for almost 15 years now, with 12 active years of participation in teaching and education. Not just children, but even parents, like mothers especially, and into the spiritual field. And I felt that this is the right topic to pick up because there are a number of people who ask the same question over and over again. So let us begin by understanding how can we understand our teenagers. And even before we understand our teenagers, let's get one thing very, very clear. The fact that times have changed and so has parenting. Our children are different because we are different as parents. We are not exactly like our parents. And maybe at some points of time, when we do not understand our child, we try to be similar to our parents. But does that work? We know that does not work. So let us understand our children afresh. The first thing that I really want everyone to understand is the fact that your child is your mirror. Yes, your child is your mirror. And that's something that even before reading books, I understood very well when I was looking at my children when they were young as well. Okay, so my elder one is a preteen, and I can see those changes which are happening inside him, which are going to bring up some challenges. And I have been realizing that they are my mirror because whatever unresolved there is within me, I can see that in them. Yes, you'll see it very clearly. As a teacher, I remember once in a PTM, okay, parents teachers meeting, there was a parent, the parents were sitting there, the father and the mother, and I was telling the parents that your child asks unnecessary questions. And the child really used to ask unnecessary and annoying questions to an extent that the other children used to hate him. Okay, and the teacher would be, interrupted every now and then. So while I was telling the same thing to the parents that, the child asks too many questions which are not even necessary, I had not even finished the sentence when the father says, "What kind of questions does he ask?" And I felt like saying, this is exactly the type of question he asks. Yes, and I understood clearly where did it all come from. Probably from the parents. And we are the ones, we are the basic foundation of our children. Children go to school much later. And children have different subject teachers. It's not like one subject teacher or one class teacher that stays from the beginning to the end. So our children are basically like us. Please accept that. I've seen many parents like blame it on the school and say, "Oh my God, the child leaves the house at 6:30 and comes back at 4 o'clock" or something of that sort. Please understand, the child is meeting so many different subject teachers. Okay, and every subject has only 40 minutes each. So the children, the basic behavior or the basic wounds, also emotional wounds, spiritual wounds, are all coming from you. Look at your child as your mirror. In whichever behavior of your child which you find problematic, you got to see, can you see yourself, or can you see your spouse, or can you see your child's grandparents? Because children are learning a lot at home, and that is where you start out to solve problems. So I remember 5-6 years ago when I used to be very stressed and tensed, and I was not understanding how to handle life. I was a single mother, and I had just become a single mother, and I was not able to understand what exactly am I going to do which is going to make our life happy, and things like that. And I saw my elder one shouting in a similar manner at my younger one. What was their age? My elder one must have been like 4 5, and younger one was barely 3 to 4 years of age. So I understood that this is coming in him through me. And I had not read any books at that point of time. Now I can tell you that, obviously, as a teacher also for such a long time, and after reading many conscious parenting books by Dr. Shifali and many other, psychologists, I can tell you, please look at the mirror, correct the wound or heal the wound within yourself. In fact, this is going to take a long time. Like this particular point, I will I will give more vantage to it. I will give, more stress to it, because we need to understand that we have also suppressed our inner child or our inner teenager. What were those things that you were not allowed to do as a teenager? Are you also trying to portray the same force or same rules to your child? Okay, I've seen mothers literally judging their own daughters and saying, "Ah, we were not like this, we never answered back our father, or we never wanted to wear those kind of clothes." Times have changed, and I think we begun in a very different manner. A lot of my friends, a lot of my cousins, siblings, everyone says, when they started out as a parent, they said that I will be different from my parent. I'm not going to put those many rules and regulations. But guess what? After 12 conscious years of being a different parent, when the child lands into the 12th or the 13th year, that entire, situation of the teenager child, the child obviously happens to be much different from you, what you were in your teenage. So now do you question yourself, did I go wrong? No, you did not. You only need to understand where have you suppressed your emotions or your wounds that you need to, you know, you need to resolve. So children, whatever problem they are actually carrying with themselves, which are appearing like problem to you if they are shouting or whatever, comes from you. You have to take responsibility of that. And almost all the points will sound similar, okay? And obviously I'm going to start by telling you, and I've like written all the points down. So I will also be talking to you about very easy ways how to get there. Now the second thing I really want all the parents to understand, and that too especially as a teacher I always wanted parents to understand, is that please let go of control. You're trying to control another human being. There's a very, very beautiful poem. You must go and find out about it. It's written by Khalil Gibran, wherein he says that your children are not your children. They come through you, but not to you. So I want every parent to understand your children are not your property. Please stop behaving like they are my property. And in future, whatever they do, I will be held liable. You cannot be 100% liable for everything your child does. And I think it's better to let your children commit errors when they are with you than to commit errors much later. When we create control, let's take an example. Let's say we are trying to keep hold of, keep control of our daughters. Okay, they are not going to wear this, and they're not going to meet boys, and this, that, and the other. And later we let them be into an arranged marriage. What happens in an arranged marriage? If the daughter meets an abusive husband, she doesn't know how to talk to men, she doesn't know how to understand men, she doesn't know how to deal with men. Wouldn't it be better that when you had the daughter with you, you allowed the daughter to date boys, or to understand boys, or to converse with boys, to understand men, so that when she finally married a man, she knew it better how to deal with men? So just let go of control, let the child be. And what should your focus be? Your focus should be to build connection. Okay, your focus should be to build connection. Many parents ask, now Arunima ma'am, how do we build connection with a child? Now the child is like absolutely different. How would you build connection with an altogether new person? How did you build connection when you went to college? Or how would you build connection in a new workplace? You have to find a common path, and you know it very well. Once you'll fail, twice you'll fail. Finally, that child is yours, genetically yours. And even though they appear to be difficult right now, they love you intensely and they love you deeply just as you love them. Another point I really liked from Dr. Shifali is, I think this book was, she's written many books. One book is Conscious Parenting, and I think there she says that please parent the child that is in front of you. What does this mean? Parent the child that's in front of you. Don't parent a child in your dream. Okay? We have a lot of expectations. My child is going to be this, my child is going to be that, and that's exactly what the matrix world gets us to do. Maybe I wanted a child who would listen to me all the time and would do exactly as I want. Like our parents wanted, if they could not become IAS officers, they wanted us to be IAS officers. But was that correct at all? Not at all. It was not correct. Do not force your dreams on your children. Accept them as they are, with their rage, with their temperament, with whatever it is. I remember one of my neighbors a number of years ago. She was saying that I don't know what to do. My child cannot have proper food. He always wants chips packet and things like that. How did the chips packet come at home at all? Who introduced this packet to him? So as parents, we are the ones that introduce or allow distractions to be around them, and then we question. Stop expecting your children to be perfect. accept them as they are. Life would be much easier. We are not running any rat race that I have the perfect child, I have been the best parent. Please walk out of that race. If at all it comes to understanding that I remember in one of the PTMs of lately, the parent said, we were discussing about the movie Adolescence, okay, and this is another point which I want you to understand, that your presence is far more important than your perfection. Okay, don't try to be a perfect parent. So this parent said that Adolescence, this particular Netflix series is they tried to watch it with their children, but the children walked off, and it has a lot of controversial issues and things like that. And they said, how do we do this? So what I told him, I'm going to tell you as well. As a mother, and especially as a single mother, I get hold of controversial topics, I get hold of controversial movies and series, and I sit down and watch with my kids, whether it be about rape, whether it be about murder, whether it be about suicide or anything, because I want my children to watch it in front of me. I know that I have learned enough to be able to tell them. Maybe some parents are not very confident about that. But if the child asks you a question, you can tell your child, give me one day, I'll find out and tell you. And then the father said that, won't the child think that I'm not smart enough? That is exactly what I want every parent to know. Don't build up a castle in front of your children that I am so and so and I'm a perfect parent. Please do not do that. I always try to be a common human in front of my children, and that is how they love me, and that is how they respect me, and that is how they also get hold of problems of their friends and come and ask me the same questions. That is how they share all the secrets with me, because I have tried to be a common human being, and I accept my loopholes, I accept my shortcomings, I say sorry to them, I request them, I say thank you to them. You got to be a real human being instead of being that that kind of parent that we had, or that kind of parent that our parents had, the grandparents or something. Just be human enough and let your energetic presence make them feel safe and seen. Safe and seen. Safe means let them have a very non-judgmental you know space at home. Okay, so your presence should be such that they can share anything and everything with you. How do you do that? So how do I do that? I tell my children some of my you know most shameful errors in my life, the silliest, and some of those things that I may not have shared with my friends or even my siblings or anyone, I've shared with my kids. And I've shared those things I've been sorry for. Something that I could not have shared with my sister, I have shared with my like kids, so that they understand that this is a safe space. I can also share such things, and they have. And I don't judge them for that. At least I know what is happening, and then I can guide them right. Your energetic presence matters a lot. The situation should not be such that the child goes on and thinking that if I tell my parent this, I don't know what is going to happen. So be their safe space, and stop being like being perfect, so that they also think that only perfection is accepted in the house. Another point that I have suffered is something I realized after so much of learning and so much of thinking. One point I missed out a bit was tuning in. You must tune into the emotions of your children. I remember my one of my sons telling me that when he was very young, class 2 or something, he liked a girl, and we shifted from that place. It was much later, years later, when he said that I liked her, and when we were leaving, I could not talk to her. And I said, why didn't you tell that to me? Of course, class 2 child falling in love, or whatever he thought was love. And when he said that, I thought that you were already stressed with so much of work and shifting and things like that, and you were doing it all alone. I thought that at least I can manage this emotion alone. I cried over it, and I can't tell you, I cried over it for the whole night, because I thought that, oh my God, I missed this opportunity to be present for him. And I think we all need to tune in and understand the emotions of our children. We are so busy in our lives. And after that, when the moment I understood after that, I always ensure that we have, things open up in front of us. Okay. We have, especially in the weekend, we journal together. Of course, we always watch movies together. And I always tell them my stories so that they can tell me their stories. And you always got to find a time to listen to their stories. So you must know how to tune in to their emotions. It's a very, very important point. Please understand that they are not your photocopies. Okay, that's something, almost all the points are going to tell you that they are not going to be your photocopies, they have a very, very different journey. Just as Mr. Kelly Gibran had said that they come through you, but they are, they don't come to you. They don't belong to you. They are not your private property. So stop expecting them to do what you want. They're not your slaves. Okay. And at this point of time, I would like to take a break and get you to understand. Please go and find out what is biologically, emotionally, physically happening to children at this point of time. The brain is restructuring. Okay, they are seeking identity into an unknown world. They do not understand what is right. In fact, we are still at this age, at 40 also, I'm still trying to figure out what is right and what is wrong. Oh, what about a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old who doesn't understand the world at all, does not have so much of experience? And then in their world at the moment, if you look at Instagram and so many things, they have so many validations. In our times, the validations were different and few. They have even more validations and a long checklist to tick. Isn't it your duty to let them understand what is relevant and what is irrelevant? And that, again, I would stress, without a lecture, with a connection, without a lecture. They are, I can say that they are like emotional toddlers. Okay, their age is big, their bodies are big, but emotionally they are like toddlers. They're not understanding what is happening. You can't expect logic out of teenagers at that moment. Okay, they have a lot of dreams, but then they also have a lot of intense emotions. That's something that you've got to understand, that you can expect love from them, you can expect anger from them, you can expect uh, intense emotional moments from them, but you cannot expect them to be like consistently following every word of yours. There'll always be emotional waves that they're actually suffering in their lives. So we got to understand, as parents, we got to understand what to expect from them, how to be there for them. And I would begin by saying that, in this age that they are in a storm, let us try to be the calm for them, provide them the calm space they actually need. And do not listen to them, or do not observe them or perceive what they're doing in their life with anger, fear, judgment. Try to listen to them in a very calm manner. I remember my mother doing that. I remember telling my mother something very personal. When I was a teenager, she just listened. Towards the end, she said nothing. And I asked her that, what do you think about it? She said, I don't think it's acceptable according to our family. Of course, that was the other generation. But she didn't say that I'm going to slap you and I'm going to throw you out of the house and Papa is not going to tolerate this. Nothing of that sort. She was very calm, and I think I learned this calm from her, and I'm trying to learn more. We need to be really calm. We need to create an environment of safety and not submission. Don't expect your child to surrender to you. Oh my God, you are the perfect being and I'm going to submit to you. Don't do that. When I've always seen when the trust is high, and that I can definitely tell you as a teacher, a lot of children tell me about their own emotional moments, about their own journeys, about their own problems with the parents, with their love life and things like that. But that is there because they have a lot of trust. And when they have a lot of trust and I tell them something, when I give them a guidance that goes much deeper, right? So as an adult, as a parent, you can also be, a friend to your child. The last thing that I would want to say is, your child does not expect you to be perfect at all. In fact, your child just expects you to be present, to be conscious, and to be calm. That's it for today. Signing off, Arunima Sana. Namaste.